when we used to do these Sync 60 challenges consistency, I remember this pattern. It was like first week, easy. Everybody shows up, everybody puts yes, or most people put yes. And your excitement and motivation is still there. This is basically the big metaphor for our entire industry, just so you know. Week 2, it's like a 10% drop off. Week 3, 4, it keeps going down until the last week. And it's about maybe 50%, maybe even sometimes less, that come into that week 8 column and mark yes, just to be consistent and keep showing up here. Even if they're marking no, it's still about, because I basically at the end, when I'm going to do the $1,000 raffle prize, I eliminate, anybody that basically marks no or didn't mark at all in any of their weeks. You have to be able to show up here every single week, mark yes on every single one if you want to be eligible for the $1,000 prize, a little carrot I'm dangling at the end. But I found in my previous experiences here, it's about half members that I have to remove from the raffle because they just didn't quite do it. And that's the big, you zoom out, and that is our industry. It's easy to get excited about this business for a week, for a month, for 2 months, 3 months. Come talk to me in 6 months, come talk to me in a year, come talk to me in 2 years. And things start to look a little more grim. Things start to look a little bit more like a real grind that you have to put in, real work, real consistent effort, and then not a lot of immediate, payouts and strong encouragement that things are going in the right direction. Some members, some of the ones that I've had on my channel recently have been getting some great, amazing numbers very quickly in their career, which is amazing. But not everybody gets that. I certainly didn't. I'm somebody that took a couple of years before I saw my first placement, which was 14 cents. So I was getting some consideration fees, but my consideration fees were $50 a track. So I was stoked, being 23 years old and never making really any money with my music to pay my utility bills with my consideration fees was like double thumbs up for me. Super excited about that, but not to the point of like, okay, I can see this as a promising, I'm making, part-time income by the end of year 1 or even year 2. So it took me about, I don't know, it was like 3 to 5 years before my royalties grew to the point where they could take care of a good, not all of my bills, but a good chunk of them. So that I was like, okay, there's a promise here. There's a future here. There's something I can kind of lean into a little bit more and feel more confident. But that's sort of how our business works. So the Sync 60 challenge is hopefully an eye opener for many of you guys to how to pace yourself. It's like, I've always described it as the Matrix, where what you see a lot of people doing is running around really quickly doing a lot of different things, right? Artists are constantly going back and forth between, all right, I'm going to do a Patreon. Okay, that didn't work. Let me go do some cover songs on YouTube. Maybe I'll get big that way. It didn't work. Okay, let me do some TikTok videos. I know that's how some people got really famous. That didn't work. Let me start offering and issuing NFTs, or, I see a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, and it seems like everybody's moving very quickly. But when you look at what they're doing, they're kind of just doing this, right? They're just running into new ideas and not consistently sticking with anything long enough, not really getting great at anything. And because they didn't get a result in 6 months, they're just moving on to the next fad, the next YouTube video that caught their eye, and the next sparkly thing. When you can do what we're trying to coach you here in Sync Academy, it turns into essentially like a, you're like Neo in the Matrix. Like you go into that bullet time, slow motion, and it's slow. You're not doing anything super fast in this business. It's taken a long time to get royalties, a long time to get any placements. Everything's moving at a snail's pace. But you can consistently show up. You can keep grinding. You keep chipping away. And what you'll notice is that your progress, at least I found this, is that my progress started to really exponentially grow as the years went on. And I saw a lot of my peers who had not been taking this journey still kind of doing this. And it looks like they're moving fast because it's like, well, I'm about to get this placement. I'm about to do this and this. And there might be occasional little pop-ups of some great success, and that's amazing. But there's just constantly this going on in their lives, in their careers. And I never felt like I was doing this. I always felt like it was slow. That's the sort of downside of what we do here, but it was always moving. It was a tortoise and the hare. We were always moving. I was always growing. My catalog was getting bigger. I was getting better at what I was doing. I was having stronger and more in-depth personal relationships with the library owners that I worked with. Starting to get to know, music supervisors, and just building my network and building my catalog as the time went on. So I just kind of felt like it was an investment that was just growing consistently over time. And now, I've shared with you some of my videos lately where, my royalties have been growing faster than they ever did, like in the early parts of my career. And I have not been very active almost at all in the last couple of years. It's just that my relationships and basically having my music at the right place at the right time skyrocketed some of my recent placement opportunities. So that's one of these crazy secrets to probably not just sync licensing, but life is, it's the tortoise and the hare. It's the age-old tale of don't be so fast and eager to chase something and get results right away. There are quick results out there. There are things that can certainly earn you a little bit more upfront or get you a little more notoriety upfront for sure. But if you can kind of not take the sort of, you sort of prioritize delayed gratification, just meaning that you're going to put off your joy and your payoff for a future date. That future date payoff can be much larger and much more sustained for the rest of your life. It's the same principle with investing, right? Yes, you can go chase the latest crypto coin because it's blowing up. You might get burned doing that, or it could be a more slow and steady, just consistently put some money into some retirement account you have, or multiple, varied accounts, so that you can see like, all right, I'm not getting rich tomorrow. I'm not getting rich next year. I don't expect to make 180% return in 1 year. I expect a slow, consistent return over the years. Some years will go down. Some years will come back up. Over 20, 30, 40 years, my funds and my retirement, and definitely your catalog and hopefully your career here in sync licensing, can kind of essentially mirror that same kind of result, where it's just going to slowly grow over time. And there's no big, that's what's like kind of like anticlimactic about it. There wasn't like this big, finish line that I crossed where it's like, okay, Jesse, you've now made it and you've succeeded. You never really feel that way. Like you could just feel a little bit more confident every month, every year. You just feel a little bit more like, all right, this is actually working now. But there's no big hooray, like a big 180% payout into your bank account. Oh my gosh. Don't get me wrong. You have, and I have received some placements and some payouts that have been amazing and huge. And like, they really do get you buzzing. But all of those fade off. All those fade away. Give it 2 weeks to a month, and even the biggest placement you've received in your career will kind of just settle into your normal, and you'll need to go get your juice going again and find your motivation again. So those things never sustain you. So it's definitely a mindset. It's definitely an attitude. It's definitely an approach you have, not just to sync licensing, like I said, but also just to life in general. So you guys here in Sync Academy are getting a front row seat to that, especially with the Sync 60 challenge. I can't imagine or think of a better way to give you a sort of Cliff Notes version of your career. That's what you're doing right now in these 60 days. This is the abridged Cliff Notes version of a multi-year, maybe multi-decade career, where showing up consistently, marking yes, delivering, setting your goals, giving yourself rewards. Yes, I'm giving you guys a reward in this challenge, but when we're not doing this challenge, you can still follow this process, this 60-day challenge format, using your own templates if you need to, your own check-in progress sheet, anything you need to do. And I hope you guys do that. I hope you don't just sit around and wait for us. I know we haven't done this as a community in the last couple of years, but there is no reason why any of you guys, I mean, if you were new to Sync Academy, maybe you didn't know what this was all about. Now you're starting to get to know it. So after this, you have no excuse for waiting for all of us to get our Sync 60 goal challenge ready for the entire community. We will do it again, trust me, and we'll definitely do it before the end of the year. I think we'll probably shoot for twice a year with these challenges, maybe more, we'll see. But for now, once every 6 months, I think is what we're going to be doing. But in between our community challenges, you should be doing this on your own, because this is the job, guys. This is the gig. Showing up, making new music, constantly getting better at your craft, constantly learning, studying from reference tracks, setting your goals, everything that we're doing here in Sync 60. So I wish you guys all the best moving forward with the challenge. We're about almost halfway done here. I'm curious to hear, actually, if you guys want to chime in with the chat, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.